Let's do it. AFC Championship Sunday. That's the first game we got. We got the red-hot Tennessee Titans. Can anybody stop Derrick Henry and the run game? They're coming off huge road upsets. The Kansas City Chiefs got to be flying high, being down 24-0, then going on a 51-7 run. I mean, come on, get out of town. So I'm like, truly pumped for this game. You got like smash mouth football on one side and the air show on the other side. Mike, what do you want to do here? So Chiefs are favored by 7.5, over under at 52.5. You want to lead this one off, or you want me to lead this one off?
You know, we talked earlier about one of us going first for one game and the other one going first. I don't care about that. You know your picks. I know my picks. I've been leading off all year.
Okay.
And here's what I did between the end of PFT Live and the start of our taping of the PFT PM Chris Simms Unbuttoned Joint Mega Picks podcast. I went back and I watched all of the 49ers-Packers game from Week 12.
Whoa!
The NFL Game Pass, excellent. You can watch a whole game in 30 to 45 minutes, and you really have, you got to, for me, it's hard. I got to turn off the phone. I got to eliminate the distractions, and I watched it. I took notes. I thought about it, and I understand what happened in that game, and we'll talk about that game later.
Yeah.
I didn't have to watch all of the Titans-Chiefs game.
Okay.
I believe, based upon the first half of that game, that the Chiefs are going to win this game and the Chiefs are going to cover the spread, because Patrick Mahomes was not Patrick Mahomes in that game, because he was just coming back from that dislocated knee.
Right.
He wasn't moving in that game like he moved against the Texans on Sunday. He's at home this week. They've got confidence. They erased that 24-0 deficit. I think they should have blown out the Titans the first time around. It's a little play here, a little play there. You don't appreciate it until you watch the full game,
that's right,
and understand the moments that keep a game close, that cause a game to go one way or the other. But I just think the mere fact that Patrick Mahomes has his full physical abilities is enough of a difference, because Derrick Henry still had 188 rushing yards back in Week 10, and the Titans won by only 3 points.
Yeah.
You give Mahomes his full capacity, this is a game the Chiefs win by 10, 34-24. So much the cushion. It wasn't the whole game, but sometimes the cushion that was given to the Chiefs receivers was glaring. If you give them that cushion this time around, Patrick Mahomes is going to take it. And if you don't give them the cushion, guys are going to be running right by the Titans defensive backs. I think they're going to be ready for anything. They're going to be ready for everything. And Andy Reid and company are going to be ready to roll. And I think they're going to win this. As much as I like the story of the Titans with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel, I just don't think they're good enough to hang with this Chiefs team.
Yeah, I got a lot of the same sentiments you do. I think that's very real. I mean, I'm with you. Look at you, though, over there. You're Ron Jaworski, and you watch back the film.
Though. I'm watching the game copy.
I know.
The coach's film is a pain in the ass to watch. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah,
all I need is the game copy.
I get you. No, there's a lot to be taken away from the game copy. I understand that, but I do get a kick out of that. We had to push back the podcast 15 minutes of taping because you were watching that, so that was fun. But I'm with you. I got some of the same thoughts about that football game too. I mean, you're right. The first matchup, it's 10-0 early on. It could have very easily been 14-0. There was a penalty that called back a touchdown on the Chiefs. Suspect there. Could have been 14-0. It was 10-0. The Chiefs had the ball at midfield at 10-0. And Patrick Mahomes missed a slam dunk like you don't see him miss this throw. Touchdown down the middle of the field to Tyreek Hill. And then 2 plays later, missed a wide open Sammy Watkins where 2 Titans defenders.
The play where he backpedals, backpedals, and there's nobody around Watkins.
Nobody around. And to me, like, that's where I'm with you, where to go, like, no, that was Patrick Mahomes after 3 weeks of not playing football. He's not going to miss those plays this time around. He's not.
And then the arm or the helmet on the football, Damian Williams, the ball pops out. The guy picks it up in full stride, and he's gone, and it's 14-10. Tennessee.
Exactly right.
They missed the extra point.
You were right. Yeah, 13-10. But you're exactly right. So within that, I think we're both seeing the same thing. We saw, a Titans team that was winning 13-10, but I think the majority of the plays you watch, you go, well, no, the Chiefs won that play. Oh, the Chiefs won that play. Oh, the Chiefs won that play. The Chiefs won. I mean, they really controlled the flow of the football game. Added to the fact, like we talk about Mahomes and his rustiness for that game, hey, after last week and what what we saw. I mean, certainly they're going to be flying high, feeling confident, hitting on all cylinders on the offensive side of the ball. But the biggest difference is their defense, too. I mean, their defense is just not the same. That was the start of the new Kansas City defense. From there on out, really, that's where they changed. And they became certainly more stout on the front seven as far as stopping the run. They became more sound and creative in the back end and pass coverage. This is one of the better pass defenses in football. And I give a lot of credit not only to the talent being better and Brett Veach getting more talent in the secondary, but Steve Spagnuolo. He knows how to specific game plan for certain teams. He doubles guys. He does certain zone coverages. They dabble in man. They do it all. They're well coached. So I look from that, and then I look at the team like the Titans. And again, this running game's on fire right now. But I look at like two teams that kind of slowed the running game down towards the end of the year. All right, the Saints game against Tennessee, where the Saints beat Tennessee in Tennessee. There's also the Houston Texans game the week before that, right, where Houston won, I believe, like 24-21. It was a very close football game. But they held Derrick Henry under 100 yards. And I think there are some similarities between those defenses, too, and what Kansas City does. Kansas City's got a nice blend of size and power along with pretty good athleticism. You got guys like Frank Clark and Suggs on the edge, but yet if they want to get real big, they can put a bunch of 300-pounders in there on the inside and still have those guys on the edge with a good blend of middle linebackers behind that too. With Wilson 54 and Hitchens 53, pretty athletic, pretty stout, can play the thumper game too. So I just look at that and go, this is a different Chiefs football team. And I worry about the Titans pass game. Hey, listen, we saw it last week. You know, hey, Lamar Jackson, I know he threw 2 interceptions, but you were watching the game. I watched the game. Those 2 interceptions, the receivers were open both times. He just threw bad throws. There was plenty of receivers open in that game last week against the Tennessee Titans. I really worry about their secondary. You know, and it's hard right now. I think with Kansas City kind of rolling on that side of the ball, you know, what do you do as a defense if you're Tennessee? It's really hard to play zone defense against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City because, yeah, you could play the right zone defense, but they pass protect so well that Mahomes will just buy time. And he'll wait for Kelsey or Hill to find a hole in the zone, and they'll expose it that way. Whether the play works or not, they make it work. And then man-to-man, yeah, that might be your best chance. But as we saw last week, they finally said, all right, hey, the hell with you guys. You're going to play man-to-man. We're going to start attacking. And they started attacking, and they got plays down the field and pass interference calls and everything like that. And I'm with you, Mike. I just don't see it. You know, as much as I respect the Tennessee Titans, they can't play the same way they played the first time. Do you agree with that? Like, I agree with something you said yesterday. The Titans got to take the air out of the football, I think, in this matchup. They got to look to go Colts early in the year. Who else are we missing? The Houston Texans early in the year, how they beat Kansas City. Run the ball, make it slow, keep Mahomes by the Gatorade bottles over on the sidelines. I think that's their only chance to win. So I'm with you. I'm going Chiefs 31-20. I think they win by 11 points, but I think it's kind of close and they just pull away late because there's just too much firepower.
Yeah, and what happened in the first half of that prior meeting, Week 10, the Chiefs had the long sustained drives where it was work the ball, work the ball, work the ball. You know, the Titans had 13 points in the first half and they only had 13 snaps.
Right.
So
and
I
six
think
of those were by their defense, you know, right?
And so it very well may be that the Chiefs don't have a problem with, you know, being patient, even if the Titans are taking long time between plays and chewing up the clock. I don't think the Chiefs are going to abandon what it is that works for them. We're going to weave in some questions that we got via Twitter, and here's one that's relevant to what we're talking about from the account known as Ring Ding Dong. Thank you for that. Patrick Mahomes' mobility looked limited the last time the Chiefs played the Titans. Do you think his mobility would be the difference in this game? And, you know, I addressed that earlier. Absolutely. If he can run better than he did last time, and based on what we saw against the Texans, he can move much better than he was moving that first game back from the dislocated knee, and the ankle is now healed. I think that will be a huge difference. I think he'll be even better. He won't miss those wide open guys. And even with the limited mobility, Chris, there were 2 different stretches in that game by the middle of the third quarter where he completed 9 passes in a row.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, listen, at no point did Tennessee stop them in the first matchup. They're at no point. 530 yards total offense, 28 first downs. 38 minutes of possession of the clock. They ran the ball and threw the ball effectively and still didn't capitalize on all that was there to be had. But I'm glad Ring Ding Dong brought this up because I think it's a very real thing. And I think this is something like the bright lights went on with Patrick Mahomes last week. And this is where I think it'll come into play. Yes, the mobility is going to be a factor. It is. Mahomes is amazing. He's got great feel in the pocket from when nothing's open, where to move, where to float to, and make the appropriate throw. And by that time, if nothing's there, so that's where his mobility comes into play. And I think a very real factor here once again, and we saw it last week with this, is when you do play man-to-man and everybody's back's turned and you're chasing Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins down the field and all that, I think Patrick Mahomes, the light went on last week. Like, wait, if they're going to do this and be so aggressive, worrying about our pass game and our deep shots and playing man-to-man and all that, man, if the Red Sea parts, just take off because there'll maybe be one guy there. If not, there'll be nobody there, and he can rip off some yards running the football. And I think that'll be a huge weapon for them in this football game. And I think that handicaps the Titans even more, having to see that last week. Now they go, okay, yeah, we might have won a double Travis Kelce on 3rd and 5, but shit, we can't double him because if we double him, then we leave him open to run for a first down, and now we have no one to spy. They're going to have to find some creative ways to keep him within the pocket because, yes, he makes a number of plays that way. That's a good question by Ring Ding Dong.
And I also think, and let's psychoanalyze Patrick Mahomes for a moment, he's on the front end of his career.
Yep.
Last year, lost in overtime to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, and he had to stand on the sidelines and watch it happen in overtime. I think the combination of that desire to get it done with the ball in his hands and the confidence in his abilities, and I think one of the things Andy Reid, the head coach of the Chiefs, has to be telling him all week is just go out and play your game. Be the guy you always are, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think he's anxious for that chance to prove that he can do it. Just like he was anxious to prove they can come back from down 24-0.
Right.
He's anxious to prove that starting at 0-0 against the Titans, the Chiefs can just blow the doors off of them. And who knows, maybe it'll be worse than a 10-point margin. I got 34-24, you got 31-20. Maybe it'll be closer to the 51-7 that it became after they gave the Texans 24 points to start the game. I really do.
Yeah.
After thinking it through all week, and I thought, we see what the Titans are doing, and it's hard to stop what the Titans are doing. And I don't want to get to Monday where I'm saying, damn it, I should have seen that the Titans are unstoppable. But these are the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are a cut above what the Titans beat in New England. And I think it was a little fluky on Saturday night in Baltimore. I think the Ravens got a little
screwed
freaked
it up
out.
too. They got freaked out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they got freaked out. They were rusty.
Yeah.
And they took that early punch. It was the Buster Douglas game. They took that early punch. It knocked him down, and they couldn't recover from it. I don't think the Chiefs are going to fall victim to that. They've got the playoff experience. They've got the desire. Everything is lining up in their favor. And I'm it won't surprise me if the Titans win, but I think all the indications are the Chiefs are the better team, and Patrick Mahomes will lead them to victory.
Yeah, and it will surprise me if the Titans win. I don't see. I mean, Mike, to what you were saying, yeah, I picked the Chiefs 31-20. I was very close to picking it 40-20. I thought, oh man, maybe again, just because the Titans beat the Ravens doesn't mean that correlates to oh, we're going to beat the Chiefs now. Well, guess what? The Chiefs have beat the Ravens twice in the last 2 years. The Chiefs are a tough matchup for the way the Titans play, and they certainly can take advantage of the weakness of the Titans, unlike the Ravens could. And that is the pass defense of the Titans. That is an issue. So I look at it there. And again, yeah, there's a weakness to the Chiefs that is their run defense, but that weakness hasn't shown since week 10 when they first played. So I just think the Chiefs have gotten a lot better in their weak area, and I don't know if I necessarily feel like the Titans have gotten a lot better in their weak area. I don't. And I think there's going to be some things that Andy Reid can steal from Sean Payton's game plan offensively because it's the same West Coast system. And I think there'll be even things he steals from Deshaun Watson and Fuller and everybody when Houston Texans went into Tennessee to win that football game. Plus, I think there's some correlation to the way the Chiefs play defense compared to those two defenses as well, who slowed down Derrick Henry. So I guess the big thing is this. What do you think, man? Do you think Derrick Henry, what's your yardage output? Where do you think, if you're picking 34-20, what do you think ultimately Derrick Henry will end up with in the running game?
I think he's going to be between 100 and 125 because I think at some point the Chiefs are going to pull away or begin to pull away, and the Titans are going to have to abandon the run.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, and I know the Tennessee Titans have an unbelievable record, right? What are they now? 13-0 over the last 3 years when Derrick Henry rushes for over 100 yards. I mean, that's an impressive stat. I get that. That really is. Now, he ran for 100 yards their first matchup, and they had to have 4 Shamrocks up their ass to win that one. So it doesn't always mean just you're definitely going to win the football game that way. And I think this is one of those games where, I think Derrick Henry will run for 100 yards in a losing effort. I do. I think this will break the record. Because even, too, what you're saying, if Kansas City's up, big or somewhat 14, 20 points, something like that, I think Tennessee will still run the ball from time to time. I could also see him ripping off some cheap run for 40 yards while the Chiefs are playing some prevent defense and worried about the passing game while they're up. I do think this is a week that's, could be 100 yards and a loss for the Titans. But either way, we both like the Chiefs, and I'm not shocked by that.
Or if the Chiefs do the defense that forces things to a head, if the Titans are taking up too much time on the clock and they take risks and maybe he pops one through as they put a bunch of guys at the line of scrimmage, then that's a possibility also. The weather is not going to be a factor. Dry, clear, and cold. High teens at kickoff, but the wind, it looks like it's going to be in the neighborhood of 10 miles an hour. Nothing that should affect the game, but it is going to be cold. Yeah. It is going to be cold. And it hurts a little bit more when you hit in the cold, but that's going to affect both teams. But, trying to chop down Derrick Henry, you may have some guys that aren't willing to dive in and go at it. So I don't know, maybe the cold favors the Titans just a little bit. But as long as the wind isn't an issue, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit cold. These guys will go out there, they'll warm up, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are used to it. They live there. They're not going to be like, oh, gosh, we're not used to hitting in this weather. They'll be ready to go. And I'll say this too, Mike, just last thing. I know we're going. The Chiefs are, we think about them as a passing game or throwing team and all that, but their defense, they throw their bodies around. They are physical, so they ain't afraid to hit. I don't think you'll see too many people shying away from Derrick Henry in this one.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.